welcome to this week's Spinfoil Theory. We're about to take a dive into another mystery from the lore of Destiny the game. Specifically, we'll be giving high-level scrutiny to popular, emerging, and outlying theories than judging them. If you have any questions or theories of your own, write to us at spinfoiltheory@gmail.com or visit us over at spinfoiltheory.com. And now, let's put on our spinfoil hats and get a little crazy. Here comes this week's show. Welcome to the Spinfoil Theory podcast with your host Taylor-B. Howdy. And LadyLucida, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
How has your week been, Lucy?
My week has been pretty okay, I guess. Kinda vibing, you know. I've been playing Halo Infinite these past today and yesterday, and I finally was able to play, and it's pretty good. I like everything. Just feels really good. It's like, I don't know. It feels like, it's gonna sound weird, but it feels like drinking a bottle of Gatorade. I don't know why that's just
a cold bottle of Gatorade.
Like a cold, nice bottle of like ice. Like, I like the blue flavor of Gatorade. Just feels like I'm just like, it's just like a nice. It's just real. I don't know why, but like going from Destiny's PvP to Halo, it's just it's a little different. You know, the controls are different, but it still feels
Speaking
nice.
of blue Gatorade, have you, we're not sponsored by them, guys. I'm just a hydration enthusiast. Have you tried the glacial cherry Gatorade?
Glacial cherry? No, I don't think I have.
My buddy gave me one to try the other day. And it was very refreshing. That's all I have to say. My favorite one is still the limon pepino, though.
The limon what?
It's limon pepino. It's like a cucumber water.
Oh, cucumber one. Okay. I've never heard it. I was like, a what? A what?
It's like lemon. It's like lemon and cucumber. Okay.
I just go by their colors because I'm basic.
Well, when it was so where I live, there is a very strong Salvadoran Guatemalan population. So in the 7-Elevens that I first saw it, it was actually in Spanish.
Oh,
so it was
that makes much more sense.
It was the nuestro sabor. It was awesome. And it was having worked in restaurants. It was a lot like the that sort of lemony cucumber water that the guys would make. It's very refreshing. If you ever come across it, 10 out of 10 will recommend. Sorry, I swear to God, we're not sponsored by Gatorade, you guys. But if anyone knows someone at Gatorade who's like, these guys are selling the Gatorade already, send them Gatorade to enjoy. Lucy hasn't tried the limon pepino.
Awesome.
Send it to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, this week's theory, believe it or not, when I first told it to Lucy, this one, I woke up in the middle of the night and had to write down in my phone so that I didn't forget it. And I'm not someone who typically remembers their dreams, so I don't know if this counts as that. But I woke up, I was like, lore idea. And so the question we're here to try to get to the bottom of tonight is, could one human from the Golden Age potentially result in multiple guardians being rez'd? The supposition here is humans have to die to complete the exo process.
Yes.
To complete all their brain data. Yes, so that's a death. There are remains that are left over from that.
I could see that working.
Likewise, an exo's remains, because they are such a perfect copy or facsimile, I'm not sure. They have personhood, I think, in any event, but I'm not sure if it's a transference or a copy, even still. They can be rezzed.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but like, but you know, maybe that's a topic for a future date. But exos can be rez'd, as we well know. So what we're here to ask about tonight is, could someone from their human form, when they died to be made into an exo, be rez'd as a guardian, as well as the exo that was made from them? Could there be two guardians from one person?
Interesting. That's interesting. I don't
know if it's happened, but
I don't
like,
know.
yeah.
I don't think we've had any, like, in-game lore of that happening, but I don't see why that couldn't happen, as long as there's, like, something of, like, remains. Like, assuming, like, Clovis Bray didn't, like, you know, cremate the remains, like, basically make there be, like, nothing. I won't say cremate, I mean, like, atomize. Like, there's nothing left of the human body.
Well, what about Ada?
Yeah.
What about other exos that maybe weren't made under such harsh circumstances?
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. I can see that happening, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure though. I'm not sure.
So this has been one that's been on my mind ever since the Lauren Europa and the Clovis Bray facility, and your friend Micah, and Micah's journey into growing up as an exo and then becoming like the exo mom.
Yes.
I really, if you haven't read it, go read Your Friend Micah, and then go read the Ghost Stories entry. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but we can reference it in the notes. That has to do with she's kind of like a shepherd of exos, but it's the same character, guys. That's not a theory.
Yep.
It's a theory that they're different people. Is, you know what I mean? Like they're the same people. So go read this. It's some of the most wholesome Destiny.
Yes, it's the Ghost Story
like side
entry
filler.
that is called Protector of Ghosts.
Yes. And so she's out there, she's this exo, she doesn't have a ghost herself, but all these ghosts flock around her and she helps them, she shepherds them to their guardians.
What if, hold on, what was one of the things that a speaker, what if Micah is a speaker? Micah got visions from the Traveler.
Can we add it to the list? Can we add it to the list? That's too spicy to tangent. To leave to tangents on this one.
Yes. Okay. We'll make that another episode at some point. Add that to the board.
Yeah, guys, that's going to be spicy. What if Micah is a speaker? Because then we know who the next speaker is.
I mean, it makes sense to me, but that's another topic for another time.
I was going to say, we're hyper lore nerds. Of course it makes sense to us.
Everything makes sense. We'll just look at this and be like, yes, this makes sense. But then there will be some things, some crazy, outlandish, fanfic level of insanity, and we're just like, no, I'm sorry, that does not make the cut. You're fired.
Yeah, sorry, but
Adios.
But this spicy lemon over here, believe it or not, guys.
Like, oh man, like that's actually like I just made that connection because I was like, wait a minute here. Hold up. Everything is coming together.
Well, here's something that I wonder. Micah gets visions from the speaker.
Or from the Traveler.
From the Traveler as a human. Do they still get them?
As an exo? I'm not sure. I don't know.
So the one thing that really makes me wonder about this is I think first and foremost we need to kind of like establish a couple things. Exos are not copies of humans. They have full personhood.
Yeah.
There's not this idea that like say Cade had survived the exo procedure, that Cade won the exo is somehow they are equally people. They equally have feelings. Like there's no no one is an object. Everyone is a person. Yeah.
Yeah, they're their own person. It's like going from one person to there being like twins, sort of. They're like twins. It's not that K-1 is a copy. It's they're each their own person.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It goes back to one of the first things that I used to write about when I used to write into shows was the multiple man theory. Because back then my idea was that they would deploy multiple copies of the same exo because there was no standing army on Earth. The few people that you had were very well refined, but so few in number that you couldn't really stand up to an oncoming force. But what if you could copy them and put them into robot bodies?
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but it's just never been confirmed, and it doesn't seem to be worked out that way, because my idea was kind of based on that the number was the as it came out of the factory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not the copy, like, because to me, resets could coexist here, because I was kind of linking it back to the Redjack data, how they all like combine their combat data at the end and share it with one another.
I see.
And
That's
so
interesting.
The way my theory worked was the Deepstone Crypt dream that they had before we went there, guys. So this has been disproven, but this was one of my earlier theories, was they could no longer make that uplink. So their data and their memories were just going nowhere. And a dream is something like if the uplink is if it had been the allegory to like REM sleep, putting short-term into long-term memory, well, if you don't have the uplink anymore, it's just getting deleted. It's being sent off, and you're not being... That was my theory back then. Anyway. But appreciate you taking that trip down memory lane with me. It'd be kind of like if anyone's a sleeving of Altered Carbon on Netflix, it'd be like dual sleeving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've
it's kind of like that.
So I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, that show's so good. The anime is really good too. Watch the anime in between. There's an anime movie.
Oh, there's an anime. Oh, okay.
Yeah, watch the anime movie before it takes place in between the seasons. So watch that first.
Well, that also makes sense. It makes sense, you know. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's cool as fuck. I'm so sorry. I'm so sad that didn't go on to more seasons, because it was the perfect format to have new actors each time.
Yeah, definitely.
Play him because of like, yeah. So anyway, I thought everyone involved in the series was magnificent. But yeah, back to the story. So the question we're having here, and I don't know if it's come up, is, so like, for example, Cade 6, Res Guardian. Do you think if Cade, the Exo, was worthy of being a Guardian, would the remains of Cade the human
also be? Yeah, no. I feel like, because they're the same person.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, what's kind of funny is, you know, human Cade did stuff up until he became an Exo. And Exo Cade did some pretty bad things. Because remember, when you go from being a human to an Exo, you don't remember. You're basically a new person.
Yeah. Yeah, because really especially by the time he joined the program, right?
Yeah. Because only special people like Elsie get their memories back.
Well, but that's because she had them... She only got them back because she found the core of a previous Exo version of herself.
Yeah, but she still had, like... I guess, yeah, that's basically true. But yeah, basically, so I mean, like, I guess you could also argue that the Exo version of a person and the human version of a person aren't, I mean, they're the same person, but they don't have the same experiences.
Yeah, it's like the, where I was going with that Raiden spiel earlier was the multiple man theory. So I used to think each deployment in the comic Madrox, Lucy and anyone who maybe didn't read it, Multiple Man from the X-Men, the guy who could hit himself and make a copy, like he would duplicate.
Yes.
The whole premise of the comic is he made like a few hundred copies of himself, and he sent them out to go get different life experiences. It's like, you go be a carpenter, you go learn like become an electrician, like that type of thing. And because when he reabsorbed them, he got all their memories and experiences. So it was a way to make himself like hyper smart really quickly. But the comic starts when he's trying to start to reacquire them. And some of them like were like, yeah, like I know what's going to happen. Like shake his hand, get reabsorbed, and he gets their experiences. But some of them had been so far apart from him for so long that they became even more individual and didn't want to get reabsorbed. So they would actually like actively fight against him because they knew he was coming. One of them went off and started a family.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Even back in the original theory, and maybe as it's being reapplied here, Cade the person may have been unworthy, but Cade 6 the Exo may have been of being a guardian, of being rez'd, of being risen.
Yeah, I get that. I get that
too.
Yeah, but if there is a person who is both, before they became an Exo and while they were an Exo, both being worthy, I don't see why there isn't a reason they could be risen, like both could exist at the same time. Unless there's like a concept of a soul, and like the soul goes from the human body to the Exo body, like the consciousness is what. Like, I guess I could see a reason why it would, like, if there is an anima, or like I guess I just call it a soul, like, I guess they're both appropriate. If during the Exo process, the soul of the human is transferred into the Exo, then the ghost would have nothing to rez, I guess? Because they need to also have, otherwise it would just be, there wouldn't really be a person, I guess. It would just be a, do you understand what I'm saying? Like the consciousness. It would just be a husk. It would be a husk. There wouldn't be any like person in
a shell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ha! A ghost in the shell. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
I love that. That was my first anime I ever watched. So it really is. It's so good.
Oh, it's such a good one. It's such a good one.
Yes, the standalone complex. I loved like that series was my first anime. It was the standalone complex and then the 11th gig.
Oh, it was that was my first one that I saw broadcast in the US. And then I want to say like when I was a kid, like I rented one of the movies or like the DVD.
That's crazy.
But it near and dear to my heart for sure. But it comes back to that, right? What is the thing controlling the machine? Is it data?
Yeah. Or is it the anima converted into a data form? I guess. Or is that what the data is? Yeah.
Right. Well, if it kills you to collect it and you have to do it with paracausal energy, I think there's room for that, at least within the narrative. Like, I don't think that's crazy. For Destiny, you know what I mean? Because you can't, every time he attempted to do it without clarity, it didn't work. Like, they realized they weren't themselves and they started picking themselves apart.
I understand why. Like, if your consciousness gets moved from, yourself to something that is not yourself, I'd freak out too, man. Like, Exos are scary, man. They freak me out.
Well, and with the exception of when you do it with Radiance, she seemed to like it from her experience recorded in the lore. Correct me if I'm wrong.
An Ada expert.
Yeah. So like for her, she knows that she's dying, but it's kind of like she goes to sleep and then she wakes up in the exo body.
You also have to, one thing that a lot of people kind of, I wouldn't say forget, but realize is with the exos that Clovis Bray did, they were adults most of the time, like 90% of the time. I know, like, there probably were sad exceptions, but most of the examples we see in the lore are human adults becoming exos. There are very few cases where we see, for example, with Ada was a child, like a young child, and became an exo.
Wasn't she an adolescent?
I'm not sure her exact age. I'm not, but basically she was young. She was young.
Definitely underaged. Yeah, definitely a minor, guys.
Yeah.
Like, no concept there.
But basically, the gist of it, I mean, like, I'm using Halo as, like, a reference here, but, like, the reason they used children in the Spartan program in Halos is because their bodies are more like Play-Doh instead of, like, something that's, like, hard, like clay. They're still, like, they're squishy. They can be, like, molded specific ways, not just, like, malleable. Not just, like, psychologically, like, with the indoctrination of the UNSC propaganda, blah, 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 Halo stuff. But, like, I meant, like, they can come to terms with stuff easier than if something happens to them as an adult. Am I making sense here? Sort of sense.
Yeah, you're making
Okay.
perfect. No, you're making perfect sense for
basically,
at least to me.
Yeah. Basically, kids are more malleable and open to change than adults because they haven't had as much experience in a general sense, like in life, and like that's kind of my.
Yeah, you're more malleable. You can build them up to what you want them to be, especially if you're building like a soldier or something for a specific application.
Yeah.
That kind of what you're going for? Yeah. Really? Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
So this is where I really have to start wondering about something, because if we go back to Pod 343.
Oh yeah, that's right.
In D1, our ghost spoke to someone before they rez'd them, and that person, Master Chief, declined. So, what is the ghost talking to?
I don't know.
I have a theory. Well, I have an idea about that came to me when I first supposed the topic to us, but it might get a little crazy there, Lucy. Are you ready for this?
What if all of Destiny is a simulation?
Oh, no, good lord, that would be a mindfuck. I just meant, what if the ghost was talking to a simulation of you before it decided to rez you? To see if the simulation of who you were was, like, agreeable with, like, what you were about to become.
Like, I haven't really had any references of that happening in the lore.
343 counts.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's a weird space, right? Okay. So here's another one, though. Do you suppose that there are human or otherwise guardians? Or I guess it would just be human in this instance. Do you suppose there are human guardians that already have exo counterparts?
I think it's definitely possible.
Like maybe even in the story?
I think it's definitely possible, but I'm not sure.
Well, it makes me wonder. Well, like what if Shahan and Shiro ended up being rez'd from the same person?
Huh. I mean, I don't see, like, that's the thing. We don't have any reason to believe this isn't possible. It could be.
Yeah. The two random hunter guys you get for new or reopened spaces.
Shahan and Shiro 4 are the same
both
person,
get pulled
confirmed.
back. Yeah.
You heard it here. I'm kidding.
Or were once upon a time.
But yeah.
Potentially. Or just like, what if something silly like that was going on? Or what if Anur was rez'd from an exo that was made from
we don't know, because we'd have to like go in. I mean, it's technically all there in the Deep Stone Crypt, but we haven't actually looked. I mean, I don't see why not, why we couldn't, but I guess story reasons.
I really feel like if and when they recycle, not that there's anything wrong with it, if and when they recycle those locations, like on Europa, what have you, for new content in the future, I would love to go in there and find Kate's backup. I'm not saying he has to come back to life, I'm not saying doing some silly stuff, because it won't be Cade 6, guys. It would be Cade 1.
Yeah.
It would be a brand new Cade. I think that would be interesting. Or like if I always thought you could do like a Nemesis Prime thing. Like, what if someone else gets a hold of someone like Cade or some other Exo data and just reses them to fight it, like makes Exos to fight us?
Yeah. I could see that happening if, like,
when Aramis breaks.
Yeah, fixes the icing problem and takes because assuming Atrax is still alive, Atrax and Aramis can start up the Exo facility again. Because I mean, like, Atrax became an Exo, so they clearly know how to use it. Clearly, so
I was gonna say, like, is there any reason we shouldn't think one of the Atrax Exos got away?
I mean, it's possible. I don't see why not.
I mean, the whole Sky facility did crash, but there was a whole other encounter we had to do that it could have used to escape.
The first part of the encounter it splits between the ground and the space. They could have we end in space. They could have just hid in the ground, like, while we kept going. Just be like, whoop, I'm out of here. I'm going to scatter.
Skittered away.
It's possible. I don't see why not.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of room, especially with not the Dread Pirate, but with, like, the Terminator Taniks.
He still laughs. Like, if you die, if you go stand on his corpse that's on fire and you die, you hear him go, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. I mean, we have his head in our little campsite after you beat the raid, but, like, I mean, come on. Taniks is more machine. Taniks is more machine. It's just one of his heads. Elixni at this point, and like.
Oh, I think. Maybe this is one we can add to the board too. But like, I wholeheartedly think what Taniks did was he had to have made himself into an AI. He couldn't have made himself into an Exo. He found the Brave facility and went AI and just put his AI into a body.
I could see that. I could see that happening. That's trippy though. That starts hurting my head, my brain. Brain no work. So much.
This is, welcome. Welcome to the X-Files. I would be really excited if, especially in Beyond Light, because it's a little less clear with Ada 1, but what if there's a Guardian Ada?
Oh god, don't say that. Don't say that. That sounds so, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know anything.
Like, I feel like there's a lot of room, and it gets a little, like, I agree, everyone, it gets a little mindfucky.
I know her.
Like, I'm not saying they should base the story on it, but there's a huge possibility here. Yes. But it makes me wonder, okay? So if, kind of looping the two things together, if there can be a Guardian rez'd from the original human remains, and a Guardian rez'd from the Exo that was made out of him, what was the ghost talking to? If it wasn't the anima, if the anima travels with the person...
I don't know.
If it was something else, simulation out there, like, do you think maybe that means, like, anima, like, soul type stuff, like, doesn't exist in the Destiny universe?
I don't know.
It's a tough one.
That's why I'm kind of like,
So for me, like, I'm kind of leaning towards the narrative is excluding that possibility. I think it's suggesting that if both the human and the Exo that's created through the human's death, like, to perfectly, like, copy the brain matter, making both equally person, I think that's kind of doing away with the idea of, like, the anima or the soul.
Yeah.
If you take that into consideration and you go back to some theories that extend all the way back into D1 from, all the way from raid secrets to old days of our Destiny lore to some of your favorite shows and streamers, it calls a lot of that into question, because now you have to ask yourself, one, what is the ghost talking to? But two, what makes a Guardian? Because now, actually, like, if the soul or anima is not a part of the process, if it's more like literal data, tell me what you think, Lucy. Do you think that kind of makes more sense? How Fellwinter could be rez'd as a Guardian who was never human to begin with?
I think so. I could see that. I'm not sure though, because like, if there really isn't a concept of like a soul, I guess.
It's only been suggested by the lore community. I'll say that.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, like, if a soul doesn't exist, then what makes a guardian a guardian? Like, technically speaking, then, if the ghost, because guardians technically, they don't really get consent to come back to life. They're just, bam, you're here. Like, guardians technically didn't be like, yes, I want to be resurrected again and live again. Like, I mean, we've seen, like, with Drifter.
Well, that's what 343. But that's what 343. Well, you don't remember it, but that's what 343 kind of suggests, is that it talks to whoever you were before.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, like, I honestly just feel like it's just an Easter egg. But I don't know.
Yeah, but it's in the game.
Like, there is some stuff, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know, because, like...
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Please continue with your thought.
We've seen, from a ghost's perspective, of them rezzing their guardian for the first time in the Ghost Stories lore book.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't ask. They just went like, hey, I'm rezzing this is my guardian, I'm rezzing them. Okay. And they went and punched a bunch of Cabal, and they're like, oh, I can come back from this? Oh, this is fun. Because they were Titan. So, like, I don't know. Now we have almost conflicting information now. Like, I don't know which is of a higher importance, I guess? Because you have, like, one which is a one voice line, you have one which is a lore book. It's like, what's, like, the level of canon, I guess? If you have something that's in, like, is a lore book more canon than a voice line? They're both in game. One is something, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
tricky situation.
It's a tricky road to walk, right? So, for me, I guess, I feel like I'm gonna lend myself, like, I keep bringing up 343, but that's just one instance, and it's something you can completely miss. Not that a lot of lore in Destiny isn't that same way, but I think kind of to your point, Lucy, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the ghost just rezzing the guardian, I feel like that sort of version of events appears a lot more in game and promo material, because that kind of seems like what happens with the Zavala and Cade too.
They're ghosts in, like, when they're first rezzed and everything. They're just like, okay, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm vibing.
I'm here, there's beer.
Like we've seen, like, even Drifter's like, I didn't ask to be brought back. Why the heck am I here? I'm not gonna listen to you, you stupid ghost. Leave me alone, man. Like, Drifter might be right here. I still say Drifter is just completing all the side quests before he goes on the main one. Yeah.
And he just never even did the first mission. He's like, the ghost is like, yeah, let's go this way, go back to camp. He's like, no, we're not going that way.
Whatever his ghost says, he just does the opposite. The ghost's like, we're gonna go this way to the last city. And he's like, nah.
Oh,
I'm going that way.
Now his ghost doesn't say anything.
Going the opposite direction. The ghost is probably so exasperated with...
I know, but now his poor ghost doesn't say anything.
And also, his ghost now has a red eye instead of a blue one, like ours.
And is also, like, cannibalized from, like, 4 of his buddies' ghosts.
Yeah, so they can access a wider wavelength of paracausality, whatever the frick that means.
All right.
Pretty much, like, okay. That's pretty much what I said. I'm just like, okay. Like, I remember reading that line, I'm like, well, that sounds interesting. Does that mean Drifter has more than...
danger-esque.
I mean, as we've seen now, like, he has stasis and darkness, which doesn't surprise me. But, like, I don't know.
He hasn't used stasis.
Yeah, he did. He used stasis in Beyond Light, my dude, in the trailer, in the video. Cutscene.
What did he do?
In the cutscene, he threw an ice grenade. I'm pretty sure. I know Elsie did.
Fair. I took that to be like a gadget that he had, because then the other stuff he does is shoot shoot with the trustee, I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. That's fair. I'll take it. Because he also gives you that stasis gun, I want to say.
Yeah, he gives you Salvation's Grip.
I accept him using a stasis ability grenade.
He's using stasis, and then with the Taken, he's using Faken, as we've called them. Fake Taken. And so, it wouldn't surprise me if he could do stuff that, like, normal light bearers couldn't, because of his ghost being now different than it was before, because it was partly cannibalized.
It's a Franken ghost.
It's a Franken ghost. I want Drifter's ghost as a ghost cell. Like that type, like a Franken ghost. I mean, we do have one that's kind of...
Well, there is that one.
Yeah, but I want it more like Halloween themed and call it the Franken ghost. And have the flavor text... Have the flavor text be like something from Drifter about a kit-bashed ghost. He's like, it's almost as ugly as mine.
I love it. Is there I know there's different monster ghosts. Is there a Frankenstein one?
I know there's a witch one. I know there's a bat one. I don't think there's...
Maybe Frankenstein was one of the old masks.
There was like a Frankenstein-themed armor for Titans, but
Okay.
I think that's really it. I can go look, but I'm not sure.
I want to... No, I could be thinking of a million different games. I just thought maybe at one of the events, like either one of the masks or one of the ghosts just had the little bolts kind of at the bottom where like a neck would be.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I could be completely making that up or conflating it with other MMOs or games. So forgive me. Forgive me.
It's all good. No.
Oh, good, man. Yo. But so two questions to pose to this. If you think there's a possibility that a guardian could be rez'd both from their human form and from their exoform, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they interact, I think it would be reasonable to kind of assume they'd be oblivious because they don't look alike. Maybe they sound kind of alike,
Maybe.
but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
do you think the ghosts know?
maybe. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because like aside from a few examples, because they just kind of go by feeling. Like, ooh, it's. Have you ever heard of like water divining or like water witching?
Nope.
Divining rod. They hold that like stick or a pair of sticks. It's either like a Y-shaped stick or like a pair of sticks, and they find water with it.
Oh, that's cool. Didn't know that. The more you know.
It's an old like folklore thing. I don't know how much goes into it for what it's worth, but the idea is like you hold them like kind of loose, and depending on which one you have as you move, like they twitch, or if you have it's either two L-shaped ones that you hold by the long side with the like kind of like a hold the L upside down like a capital L. They go forward. It's when like the two points pointing out like would start to turn together, supposedly, is where the water is. Yeah.
That's so strange.
Similarly with the Y one, I think is like you're pointing, they like kind of like pull your hands in or like start to pull together. There's nothing scientific about it, but it's a legend. I wonder if that's it, because like stupid as that whole explanation was, like roundabout way to get to this point. That kind of sounds like how the ghosts go. Like, I feel the juju. I feel the risen juju over this way. But then you have ghosts like Tianchi, who kind of did it out of regret and remorse and responsibility for the families he was shepherding.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely see that.
Like, I wonder, because there's other stories too, like about the ghost that Sagira resets, that warlord's ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Osiris is like, if I recall correctly in the story, he's like about ready to put it down, or he's like really chastising it, and she comes back like, no, when this one was materialized from the Traveler, like things were rough, and so they found someone who was rough too, to be their guardian, who could like stand up to it. Kind of explaining how much more violent the warlords and everyone seemed to be back then.
The warlords were really bad, yeah.
And
And so that makes me like wonder too, like they have to like it seems confirmed from enough different sources in lore that they know at least something about who you were.
Yeah, they know. They're like able to like I guess through space magic able to like not necessarily see who you were before you died, but kind of see the kind of person you were. And that's how they're able to distinguish someone who is good to be rez'd from someone who shouldn't be rez'd.
Agreed. But that brings me back to the wondering, right? Well, if they know, well, two things, right? So if they know, that means they know that about like either it's hard coded into them and they're just waiting to like find you. Maybe it's kind of like that. But again, Tianchi kind of throws a wrench into that one, unless, well, Tianchi wasn't sure until that moment, so maybe it's still valid, but it just seems weird from that perspective.
Yeah.
Or they're like scanning everything, kind of like Crow's Ghost back when it was pulled pork. And it was like scanning literally everything and its sister.
Well, I guess it really depends. I mean, like, I think they have, like, a general idea, maybe, but
they can tell but they can tell, like, they can tell what's not it, right?
Yeah, they can tell what it is, but they can't really tell, like, it's like something that's kind of, like, abstract in their head. I guess their ghosts technically don't have a head, but you get the gist. Just kind of like their abstract thing in their mind, that they kind of have like it's. I don't want to say it's like deja vu, but like you know how you get like this weird like feeling in your head sometimes.
Yeah.
Where you're just like
comfortable.
You're just like Because I mean like we've seen before like in the lore if a ghost's guardian kind of goes too crazy, they can be like, fine, I'm not rezzing you anymore. They can go leave and go find someone else. They can like reset their. I like to think of ghosts as radios and guardians as a specific frequency that they're like tuned into. That's how I've always like thought about it. And the ghosts, they're trying to find that specific frequency that's their guardian, so to speak. And then so like, for example, a guardian, I think of the ghost as like a radio. They're trying to tune into that particular frequency that's their guardian. And they find it. But it doesn't mean they can't change to a different frequency if that guardian is bad. We've seen it happen in the lore before of them basically being like, alright, I'm gonna go find another one. This one was bad. Does that make sense?
Sorry, yes it does. I was muted when I started talking. Sorry about that. Yes, that makes perfect sense. But the one thing I wanted to kind of ask about that, though, is there an instance of a ghost resetting itself? Because all I can think of is Sagira forcing that on the other one and returning it to the Traveler. And so here's a further question about that. Did she just send it back to the Traveler to start over? Or was it reset too? Did it go get reabsorbed to get redeployed?
Well, no, it's in the ghost stories lore.
About leaving them behind, but like when I'm just trying to think of a time, because so far Ghost to Guardian is 1-to-1, with the exception of Sagira resetting that one, but we don't know if they ever rezzed anyone again.
True. Let me go look in the ghost stories.
Because that was the big assumption with Shin Malphur for the longest time, was that Jaren Ward's ghost was his. No, they're just buddies.
Yeah.
Like, he can't be rezzed. They've confirmed that, fans. Listeners. Sometimes I forget we're recording.
There is... Oh, I found it. I found. There's a lore entry. It's called Savin. It's in the book of Ghost Stories, and it's from a ghost's perspective. About, like, they don't really know what their guardian is like.
Mm-hmm. Like, because they haven't found them yet?
They haven't found them, yes.
Okay. But, like, yeah, it's like that, like, you know it when you see it type of thing.
Yeah, like the ghost. What's so funny is the guy, Savin. He's like, Savin, yes, I think I will call myself Savin. Let's go, your ghost. because he thinks the ghost's name is your ghost.
I'm your ghost.
I'm your ghost.
All right, your ghost. I love that.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I love that. Savin is now a guardian dad.
Yes.
Making them dad jokes.
It's the whether windmill or cranes is where a ghost chooses not to res their guardian.
Yeah.
But we don't know if
they went back to
go res someone else.
Yeah. That's where I was wondering. Because if ghosts can do that, that's a whole other level of kind of conscription to them for our guardians.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be well. Well, I'm kind of glad that they don't seem to be able to do. Well, but I guess they can and they can't. Like, I'm still wondering what was that eye flash thing Sagira did.
I don't know. Well, no, because what's interesting is I don't know.
All of the answers we think we find in this pod are just leading to more questions.
Yes.
All right, so here's one for you, kind of pulling it back, right? If the ghosts just know, and they're looking for your frequency, do you think that frequency would or whatever changes? Because like going back to like the guardians might not know, but I bet those ghosts do, because even Fellwinter's ghost knew what he was.
Yeah.
And told him how Fellwinter wasn't his name. Or, yeah, like, that's not your name. Your name's this. Just forking wild.
Sagira and Ikora's ghost kind of had a talk about, like, why the connection between ghosts and guardians, and they kind of came to the conclusion that a ghost is supposed to complement their guardian. Not like in a literal, like, oh, you're the best. They meant like, like...
Yeah, like a complimentary assistant.
Yeah, this is what Ikora's ghost said. It is my belief that the traveler understood that normal people would not be enough to protect humanity. That it would take those who are extraordinary in both body and spirit. That only by merging of ghost and guardian into a single unit could this be accomplished.
There's got to be a reason.
Like there has to be a reason why, not just because of the creation of ghosts, like why a specific person is chosen to be a guardian.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I kind of agree with Ikora's ghost said, I can never pronounce their name correctly. Oh, starts with an O. Ophiuchus. I'm bad with, I don't know how to pronounce words. Words are hard.
Post it in the chat. I'll try my best.
You try your best, man. You try your best to say this, but, It's like Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus?
Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus, yes. Ikora's ghost. I run that ghost cell for my hunters, so I should know.
That's my stab at it.
So I should know how to pronounce it, but yeah.
Would someone chime in to be like, no, it's Ophiuchus, you assholes? Like,
yes. Well, because like that's the like what's interesting. Basically, it's like for the example of Sagira and Osiris, they butt heads a lot, and that's only because Sagira is the only person who will call him out on his bullshit. Basically, no one else will, because
she big sisses him like so much.
Yeah, she's like, "Come on, man, come on."
Yeah, and I hope we find a way to either rescue or find out where she is or bring her back.
I know,
because their relationship was so cute.
It was. I liked their banter back and forth, because we don't really get a lot of guardian and ghost banter. Most ghosts are pretty quiet. Well,
I know, she was so sassy.
I would have loved to see how Sagira and Glint would have interacted, or Sagira and Crow.
I want Glint and Marcus Wren's ghost. I forget her name, but I want them. I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, that's she is another sassy one, but in a more
no, it's
call you on your own
Sorry,
bullshit
it's
kind of.
Dee. I knew it was something E.
Dee?
I know it was something E. I was like, Z.
Oh god. Now I just imagine her as Dee Dee from Dexter's Lab.
Oh no.
Dee Dee, you idiot. No. Dee is not portrayed as an idiot.
I just love it's the fast lane ghost shell. I just love it because like Marcus is like messing with the sparrow and he's like, man, I need something new to do. I'm tired of working on the sparrow. And then Dee, his ghost, is like, I want a new shell.
Yep.
And she's like, I always wanted a shell for me. And he's like, no, that's great. You need a racing shell to match the racing sparrow. It's genius. And I'm just like, that's hilarious. Bring back sparrow racing and have Marcus Wren be the guy for it, and it'll be fun.
Oh god, if he was calling the races?
Yeah, like have him be like the announcer, kind of like how we had Amanda Holiday. Or, but then we wouldn't have Amanda Holiday anymore, and that'd be sad. But
¿Por qué no los dos?
Why not both?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no, she wasn't talking about the sparrow. She wanted her own. She was talking about Marcus's racing jacket. How he had like his sparrow racing jacket that he would wear and look so cool. She's like, why don't I get one? And he's like, you know what? We should match. We're gonna match now.
Oh.
That's great. But yeah, so basically, I think that, like I said, I kind of agree with what Ikora's ghost said, how the guardian and the ghost, they complement each other. I wouldn't say they're like, maybe they're like a yin-yang kind of thing, if you want to put it that way. Maybe? Because, you know, they're bringing out the strengths of each other, while also...
They, like, balance each other, almost?
Yes, that's the word. Like, balancing each other, I think.
Okay. Groovy.
In most cases. There are some cases where that's not the case, like with, Gilgamesh, I think? No.
Well, Gilgamesh, but one of them was corrupted. It was Gilgamesh.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was like, if a ghost guardian gets corrupted, that equilibrium, that balance is shifted, in my opinion. So then they're not helping each other anymore.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you want to maybe do a score, or?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's pull it all back in. Light review of what we went over, because you know us, we create a spider web.
Yep, we're deppers.
I think we both agreed it was plausible, since there are remains involved and a death involved in both cases.
Yes.
That a human who died to become an exo could be risen, and the exo that was made from them could be risen.
Yes.
It seems that also that I would think, it doesn't seem like, I think we both agree that the guardian and ghost seem to be set to a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. It seems to be that way.
Yeah, whatever Sagira did to that warlord's ghost to send it off, until we find out what happened with that, that's an outlier. That's only happened that one time.
Yeah, I agree.
And 3, while also an outlying text, just to preface and keep everything fair, the 343 pod suggests that there's some form of consent coming from the guardian before they're risen.
Yes, I agree. Which is interesting, I think, because
right
with what's weird is there's another entry that literally contradicts that, and it's called Ghost Hunter, where this guardian is rez'd, and they're like, I didn't ask for this, and just goes out and starts killing other ghosts.
So I would say, yeah, it's an outlier. Yeah, let me amend that then. Though there is this outlier that seems to suggest consent from the whole person before memories were lost. Because the 343 one being saying, I fought enough wars.
Yeah.
As a reference to Master Chief. And then, yeah, I would say that's most of the lore. I agree with you. While there is that outlier,
some outliers here,
that is contradicted. Yeah, that is contradicted more often in almost every other instance. I would agree wholeheartedly. Like that's a contradicted idea. Like Ghost just res you, and then it's like in game, like, hey, you've been dead a long time.
You've been dead. I've been what?
Right?
I've been dead?
I didn't even know I was alive.
I didn't even know I died. Thanks. Oh god. That would be me. I'd be like, I died? How did I die?
I mean, if I had my wherewithal, but I just didn't know, like, people I'd met or something like that, I feel like my reaction would be like, "You were dead, but it got better." I'd be like, "Cool."
Cool. Like those really
Like, yeah.
cheesy commercials. They're like, okay. And they just stick out their thumb and they're like, yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I would be Mentos about it.
Oh my god.
Just pull out my ghost and get better. Maybe Mentos should be my ghost name. If you think my ghost should be Mentos, add us at Spinfoil Theory on Twitter, or write to us, spinfoiltheory@gmail.com, or make a comment and reach out to us through the website at spinfoiltheory.com. Boom.
Booyah. All right.
Yeah, big. So as we move into score, those are the things I would say we collectively covered on the subject for sure. Would you like to score first?
Sure. I think I'm gonna score this 85 ghost shows.
Ooh.
Yeah.
4 or against?
4.
Oh, groovy. I'm gonna give this one 1,012 pieces of light.
1,012. That's a very specific number.
Yeah. Yeah, 1,012 pieces of light. 4. Pieces of light are smaller, guys. Our scores were actually about equal if you put them on the scales.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's fair.
There's many pieces of light. They're very small. Yeah, no, this was a fun one. The idea that there could be duality, because like, what if we ran into another Guardian that literally just was Nathan Fillion?
That would be funny. They could
Like,
do that. They could.
Like, was Cade, yeah. That was Cade, like, as a result of going in, like,
before
the Cade who wrote in the journal before they became the EXO, yeah.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
I feel like that would be, because that'd be a great way to get him back.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's a schedule, and it's a whole new character.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it would be like, it's Cade, and he's going to be like, I don't know who that is.
But it's not.
He's going to be like, I have no idea who you're talking about. Who's Cade?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a really lame person. Oh my God.
What if he's Ghost Hunter?
Oh, no! Oh my God, I'd cry. Because Ghost Hunter, they're just going around, and they're just literally just going and killing ghosts. They're just like, no, I'm tired. I just want to let and they literally said they're just doing this to, like, let their brothers and sisters rest. Let the dead stay dead. And I'm like, I don't know about this. I mean, I kind of agree with you, kind of don't. I don't know.
It's pretty harsh.
It's very, like, I don't know.
You can't make that decision for other people.
That's what I'm saying. You can't. Just same thing with the ghosts, though. Like, the ghosts can't make that decision for their guardian, but vice versa. I don't know. It's very tricky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the ghost didn't make the decision either, though. The traveler did.
Exactly.
It's a whole to do. It's a whole to do. I mean, like, at the end of the day, you kind of have to wonder, kind of like the Drifter and other people have posited, are we all just like one big manipulation as guardians?
I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Yeah. Even people who, like, had trouble speaking for the traveler seem to really enjoy manipulating us.
Yes.
I can't wait to see where things go in Beyond Light. For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Lizzie, you got any shout-outs?
Any shout-outs?
This week?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay.
You go first.
I'm gonna give a shout-out to to Kari, my partner I'm about to go on a vacation with. You know, it's been a long time coming. We both kind of had stressful, like, month work-wise. And, you know, she's been there to support me and has picked up a lot of my slack, especially as I've been extra busy. This last week in particular, when we did the return to office at our location, even though it looks like we're about to roll back immediately. Yeah, my shout-outs to her. Sometimes she listens to the show, but, you know, whether she hears it or not, I'm saying it. My shout-outs to Kari.
That's adorable.
For just being there. Thank you.
Okay. Damn.
Would you like to shout out to Kari too?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm really bad at the whole, like, shout-outs thing. always feel like I'm bad at it. I guess
No, it's
I'll shout out, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm always bad at these. Give me a second to think.
Can I make a suggest? Because
Sure.
I remember you talking about it
Sure.
and tweeting about it earlier. I want to give a shout out, and maybe you'll join me, to all the people who stood with solidarity against Ubisoft and against their and Activision Blizzard and
all of those
the
people.
Activision Blizzard walkout. Yeah.
My hope is that something good comes of it, but I'm a pessimistic person. So.
Well, that just means you're managing your expectations, that the bar is so low that like any good is probably gonna be a pleasant surprise to you.
Yes, exactly.
It's I do similar stuff sometimes for sure. Well, all right, guys. With that, stay safe. Thank you for tuning in with us this week. We hope we see you next week. Stay hydrated.
Yes,
we're about to get into some of the hottest parts of the summer for some parts of the world. At least around here, I know August is usually like the most butt ass hot part of the month in the swamp here.
It gets kind of hot here, but like not as hot as it was earlier. So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But stay hydrated, stay safe, stay cool.
Yeah. Stay frosty.
Yeah.
Use stasis.
Mm-hmm,
it's a joke. It's a joke. Don't use stasis.
But just don't get hunted down. Don't get hunted down.
Yes. Don't do that.
there are. If you heard our episode last week, there are guardians who have qualms with that. All right, guys. Yeah. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Doodles. That's off, Guardians. That's it for this week's discussion. Have any questions or comments about this episode? You can reach out to us on Twitter @SpinfoilTheory or write us an email at spinfoiltheory@gmail.com. If you'd like to read our show notes, check out articles, listen to past episodes, and more, be sure to pay us a visit over at our website, spinfoiltheory.com.
The Lore Network.
All right, we're on. We're live. We're doing this.
Yay!
We're doing it live.
We are.
All right. Nice. So, this will be fun. Let me make a note for about 47 and a half. All right. Welcome to the Spinfoil Theory podcast with your host, LadyLucida. How are you doing?
You messed up the intro.
No, I didn't. I skipped to you first.
You made me first. I wasn't
Yeah.
ready. I'm never first. Oh,
I know. I wanted to switch it up.
but it sounds weird because you didn't introduce yourself. You're the one speaking. It doesn't make
I'm
sense.
going to go next. It's okay.
Oh. Whoopsies. You can just cut all this part. Just cut all this. Just be like-
Do you ever want to go first, by the way?
No, I don't like going first. I hate
Oh,
going
okay. We'll just start over. This is fine.
We'll just start over.
This is fine.